Happy New Year, everybody. We are back. Casual Couch Critics Podcast, episode 4. Zach, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's go.
2024. We made it. We took a bit of a break. It was my fault, not Zach's. I got COVID. Turns out COVID's still a real thing. Turns out also makes you very tired for a long time. So that plus Christmas holidays and New Year's and as you would say, all that jazz. Let's do a bit of a hiatus, but we're going to restart the momentum. We got 3 weeks in a row. You know, we're back on 2024, new year, new us, new couch.
We're back. We're ready. We're gonna triumph. This is gonna be the greatest, most casual movie podcast in the world.
The most casual with the biggest banner that says introduction.
That is an actually large banner.
Well, yeah, like we said, I was sick, but last time we talked, we were previewing kind of the Christmas season, Wonka and Godzilla. We've both seen those movies since then. Turns out we were right. They were very good and very dominant at the box office. Wonka still continues to roll. So I feel like we ended 2023 on a high note on this podcast.
Definitely.
In what better way to celebrate what was in 2023 as our first bonus feature content of 2024 by talking about what was the 2023 box office success that we saw. I have some numbers here for you. You know, spoiler, I'm not going to give everyone your address, but we both live in Canada. The North. We the North, as people would say. And the Canadian box office did very well.
Yeah.
This past year. There's the Movie Theater Association of Canada reports Canadian box office revenue rose to $897 million last year, up 34% from $674 million in 2022. Continuing a Hollywood box office recovery. Still falling short of the $1.02 billion mark in 2019 pre-pandemic. And a lot of that credit, I think, is pretty obvious to point to the titles, Barbie, Oppenheimer. I think you can point to a studio that we're going to talk about later with Super Mario Bros. Making over $1 billion, Spider-Verse, even Avatar early on. I think 2023 definitely felt like a post-pandemic year. We're finally at all the projects that were on hiatus and delayed. It was almost like a vomit, just like everything. All the big directors, all the big movies, all the big stars. It's not just say Top Gun in June and you wait a while for a few months for the next big thing. Mission Impossible was this past year, speaking of Tom Cruise. So it was just like everything was piled on. It was a great year. A great year in movies.
And credit studios when they make good movies. And I remember seeing Spider-Verse this year. It was a packed house and lots of laughs. People applauded when the movie was over, and even seeing something like Mission Impossible, not a packed house, but I went opening night to that, and there was a large crowd for that. There was a lot of fun, and it's just exciting to see movies returning and the experience of going to the theater, paying for overpriced popcorn, and having a good time catching a flick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was still largely dominated by franchises, and I don't see that for movies and going away, unfortunately, as far as cinema going to the movies is concerned.
Yeah.
But the original titles like Barbie, Oppenheimer, Killer of the Flower Moon, et cetera, it's pretty crazy. Original titles themselves kind of helped carry the leeway for most of the year. It was just really cool.
And I think you had a couple of surprise movies in there too that did well. The Barbenheimer thing. That was a fun internet thing that rightfully gets a lot of attention. but like that movie, the faith-based film Sound of Freedom, did quite well for a lower budget movie.
Nope.
You think of what am I blanking on this year? It's coming back. It'll come back to me in a moment. But there were a number of movies that like they were the creator. I'm thinking creator, yeah. Where the creator, it came out. It didn't necessarily crush at the box office, but it did well. And because it had a more affordable production budget, it actually did well. And I think it's probably doing pretty well in streaming. I haven't really checked in on it yet, but
I think it's available for rental. I don't know if a service has picked it up yet. But some other titles, obviously the big Taylor Swift, concert movie, Beyonce's concert movie. We touched on that maybe in our Wonka episode about musicals, kind of the new era. That definitely helped kind of reinventing what event movie going experiences looks like. Little Mermaid, unfortunately, made money. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, people forget. I feel like that feels like an eternity ago, but that was better movies, in my opinion. John Wick 4. And Sound of Freedom actually the 10th grossing movie.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Great year. We're gonna do a 2024 preview episode coming soon. We'll have some award predictions that we'll check on at the end of 2024, see how we did. The reason why, even though it's like the end of the second week of January, and we still aren't doing a preview episode, is things are still moving. Like Warner Brothers just moved up a bunch, and Sony just moved up a bunch even now. And to be honest, when we do post our 2024 outlook, maybe we'll have to redo it in the summer or something, because who knows. Really, like nothing is scheduled from like August to December right now. And I have a feeling with like, it kind of sucks to say after such a high of 2023, but I have a feeling due to the actor and writer strikes and all those delays, I have a feeling 2024 is definitely going to kind of feel like a 2021, 2022 year at the box office. We do have some notable titles coming, which we'll touch on in our preview episode, but it's definitely not, I don't think, going to have the splash that.
Well, and on that note, like I'll maybe say, with the lack of big blockbuster films coming, which there's still a good number.
Yep.
There's maybe opportunities for some indie films to come in and pull a Sound of Freedom type of run and take up some of those weekends that the massive movie going audience might not go, but the regular movie going audience might see some films that will surprise them.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned for that. We're definitely going to get that out soon. But we still have a couple other bonus features to talk about. Unless, Zach, any closing comments on 2023 as we wave goodbye dearly?
I'll just say it was a fun year at the box office. I love going to the movies, and I think it's cool that we're getting back to a place where it's normal to go to the movies. People get excited for Tuesday cheap night or a Thursday or Friday premiere, or if they are hanging out with their friends on a Saturday and then go to a show on Sunday. It's fun to have that back in culture.
Yeah, and I think just the way of the world moving too, it really kind of felt like the first post-pandemic year of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I know like this distance seating has been gone for a while, but there was still sometimes mask stuff but even like just the movie delays in general. Obviously the 2024 delays aren't COVID related, but just felt like there was more to anticipate as well. So like you said, like the excitement of doing those things for events. Very fun year. Mm-hmm. And we will look ahead to 2024 very soon. Other news, which I know you might be skeptical of this announcement, but I also know you're very fond of this. Um, Live action How to Train Your Dragon. This has already been announced for a while now. You and I have talked about it before we started this podcast. But the latest news is Gerard Butler is coming back. He's reprising his role of Stoic the Vast, Hiccup's father. And I believe that release date currently is for summer 2025. So they'll begin filming it sometime this year. Zach, your thoughts on Gerard Butler, on How to Train Your Dragon, on a live action remake? I think this is the first time DreamWorks is kind of doing something like this. So the floor is yours.
You know, I love the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. It's one of my favorite animated movies. I think they're very well done in terms of story, in terms of animation. I'll sometimes, just for therapy, rewatch the test flight scene with Hiccup and Toothless, like just beautifully animated. One of the few movies I saw in theaters in 3D where I felt it was actually worth watching in 3D, just because the rocks going everywhere and it was epic. It was awesome. I am cautious about this live action because it's 100% they're doing it for the money, right? Like that's why we get these live action remakes. And I'm not saying it can't be a great movie, but I just like I don't feel a need to see this movie. I'm going to see it, which is the annoying part. It's the annoying part because the studios know even if we don't want it, we're gonna go see it because we love this franchise.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing is it like it seeing a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Does it provide a new experience? Is it a new form of art in some ways? I don't know how much of the movie they're going to change, but like, you know, when they're fighting a big, massive monster dragon, like how's that going to look? You know, are they going to try and make it, you know, Toothless look like a cat? I don't know, but it's I don't know. I'm nervous, but like I'm excited. Gerard Butler being stoic is really cool. I'm like I like that casting, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think it definitely adds a bit more confidence to the movie. Expectation wise, I don't think. I mean, like everything, it's based on a book series.
Yeah.
My thinking is that they'll go a different direction. You know, because like you said, I don't know how they could necessarily recreate magic that animation provides, and not necessarily like they can still do the first flight scene in a live action version, but as far as like that final battle and that mountain full of dragons, like I just don't know if that is feasible. And also, like you said, Toothless design is going to be that could be Sonic the Hedgehog. That has potential to be Sonic the Hedgehog all over again. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think it's weird that like this feels like, and there probably is others, and people will comment if this has happened, but I feel like this is the first time other than Disney that where like remakes are being announced, and we're like, oh, like or popular animated franchises. Like, I feel like this is an interesting turn anyway for this to be remade. The third one only came out a couple of years ago. I guess it may be 2017 now, but anyway, I feel like it's still fresh in people's minds. The animated series, it's not like it's been gone for a while, you know. So,
well, you know, studios that like to make money, they don't like to take risks.
Yep.
You know, if they know there's an embedded audience for this franchise, even if it doesn't make $1 billion, as long as they, you know, make their 500, 600 million at it, they're going to be happy.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll stay tuned as I believe the kids have been cast. I think I haven't seen them in too many things. I think that one of them was in The Last of Us, and one of them has been in a couple horror movies, but we'll see, because obviously the casting of the kids is pretty critical, even if you have a veteran actor in Gerard Butler joining. So
True.
the story is about the kids. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I'd be all for, like, if they want to make a stoic prequel movie, okay, sign me up for that.
I mean, it would be him killing dragons, because that's kind of his character at the time. So I don't know if that would be a kid-friendly movie, but I would obviously pay.
I would still watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you'd have to retitle it, but
How to Kill a Dragon?
Yeah, How to Kill a Dragon. We should be bringing these ideas.
Yeah, no kidding.
But this is kind of a good transition to our feature presentation, and we've wanted to talk about this for a few weeks, but like I said, there's some holiday and health challenges. But our main topic for our feature presentation today is Illumination Studios' migration. Now, Illumination kind of came out of nowhere about a decade ago and has just been on a tear. You can make the argument they might be the best animated studio right now as far as commercial success, not necessarily in quality of movies made. But obviously, they kicked off with a home run with Despicable Me, and that's just snowballed into billions and billions of dollars with the Minions franchise. They did Secret Life of Pets, which got a couple sequels. They did Sing, which got a couple sequels. So they're rolling it, and they got the rights to do the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was one of the biggest movies of 2023, as we recently discussed. So Migration, coming out at Christmas time, big year for Illumination. They kind of started with Super Mario Bros. And they end it with Migration. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this movie, Zach? I guess I'll read the plot summary for those who might not know. So, the family of ducks try to convince their overprotective father to go on a vacation of a lifetime. That's a movie.
Yeah, that's all it says.
That's the summary. Yeah.
That's so funny. Again, I really enjoyed this movie. It's a fun 90-minute adventure. If you're a 90s kid and ducks going on an adventure were thrust upon you, it seemed, with like DuckTales and the Mighty Ducks and anything duck related. It's a lot of fun. It's I'm not going to say this movie was very character driven, because even like the father duck, I guess spoiler alert here, the father duck and his overly protectiveness and cautionness, within like the first 10 minutes of the film, the family convinces him to go to migrate to Jamaica. And so like they get over that like pretty quick, and so like it's really just like them as a family of ducks going from like one scenario to the next one. They have to free a parrot that knows the way to Jamaica, but the parrot is trapped by an evil chef who's cooking other ducks. And then they end up, again, this is major spoilers, they end up going to this duck farmer who's farming ducks, who it turns out that's the farm that the chef buys the ducks from. And so like
it's a lot of drama for some ducks.
Oh yeah, totally. So then they free all of those ducks, and then they follow the parrot to Jamaica, and they have like an epic showdown with the chef. And it's just, yeah, the evil chef was really funny in it. Like it was really, really charming. And yeah, there's a really cool, like, there is probably a cool development in like there's an older brother duck and a little sister duck, and at points in the movies they have to step up and they have to overcome some of their insecurities, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was a fun flick. I hope it does well for Migration. Do you know what its box office is currently?
Yeah, so I have some numbers here. So The budget was $72 million. And currently worldwide it's at 155. So it has made it back. It's obviously not one of their more successful titles. However, um, I think it's gonna remain in theaters for at least a little while longer, just because of the lull in movies that we have in January. I think it'll it probably won't reach 200. It could reach 180 though. I think
Yeah.
reasonably.
I
Um,
I could see this movie doing really well on streaming also.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, go
So
ahead.
I'll just say this. I think this is one of those movies that like little kids, they'll
Yep.
watch it once and they'll be like, "Mom, Dad, can I watch it again?" And it's definitely a rewatchable, fun. It's a pretty simple movie to follow, but it's not entertaining.
I think that kind of sums up Illumination in a lot of ways. Simple but entertaining.
Yeah,
Um, when I think of Illumination Studios, I think bright colors. Every one
yeah,
of their movies is just
right.
bright, and like I said, probably on the ranking of animated movies. I mean, we did our Disney Hall of Fame. I don't know if any of the current Illumination movies would make it even as good as Despicable Me One is.
Yeah,
But they're entertaining, simple but entertaining premises. Can border on stupid for minions, but they're not for us. They're not for us. But yeah, I think that's a perfect summary. I think they did the Grinch remake, they did the Lorax, like they got
right.
these Dr. Seuss movies, um, and they just seem to know what captures kids' attentions, right? I think
Did
unlike
they do
some,
Home?
nope, DreamWorks did Home. I know
Okay.
that's your favorite movie, as listeners will slowly discover over time with you, but. No, they did not do Home. I think too with Illumination, it's they know, like, they're not unlike DreamWorks and Disney where they're wanting kind of the whole family necessarily, like some maybe adult jokes or nods to deeper themes. I think they've gone in like understanding, like, hey, like, simple but entertaining.
Yeah,
And I, not to say that there isn't emotional depth. Certainly, um, there is, especially like I said in the actual Despicable Me franchise with Gru, not necessarily the minions themselves, but um, I think they that's a studio that clearly has a vision and has been able to execute um, very well. Just to give you like a high overview, um, they have Despicable Me 2 was just under $1 billion. Minions 1 over $1 billion. Secret Life of Pets was $900 million. Despicable Me 3 over $1 billion. Minions Rise of Gru just under $1 billion. Super Mario Brothers $1.4 billion. They're they're
they're
crushing it. They only have maybe about 12 movies that they've made since coming out of the scene in 2010, 2011 with Despicable Me. Their batting average is very high as
no
far as
kidding.
box
Yeah,
office
wow.
goes. So, I mean, for migration, I think also part of it too, um, it doesn't necessarily have like full star power. I mean, I am a fan of Kumail Nanjiani. Um, but he's not necessarily a recognizable voice, especially for young kids, as say
Mhm.
like a Kevin Hart or other people that are in a lot of animated movies. Aquafina, can I just? I don't know who her agent is, but she is in every single movie that comes out.
Yeah.
Can I just read you every animated movie that this person has been in? Since 2016, she was in Storks. She was in The Angry Birds 2. She was in the Dark Crystal remake. She was in the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run. She was Raya and the Last Dragon. She was the dragon. She was in The Bad Guys. She was in she was the seagull or whatever in the live action Little Mermaid. And then she's in Migration. She has been in so many projects with every single studio. I don't know if she has like dirt on these people, but like it's not like she changes her voice. Aquafina has a very distinct voice. I'm not a big fan of her acting. I know she's in Shang-Chi and she was in Crazy Rich Asians and Jumanji. Like she's having definitely a rise to fame for 100%. But like
she's in a lot of bird roles.
She's in a lot of bird roles, or it's no. She apparently is a type. I mean, she's a spider in The Bad Guys. I did see that. She did branch out,
but still, it's like these studios are like, man, we need a voice actor to play like a comical character in a bird movie.
Yeah,
get me Aquafina. Get her.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 2 a year for the past 5 years that she's been in, and it's crazy because she, like I said, she has a great comedic voice and she is good comedically. I don't necessarily think it translates on screen as well when she's acting, but that's just my opinion. I know she is popular. In animated movies, she's definitely good. It just feels like every time I turn on a new animated movie, she is a character and you know it's her.
It's bird is just there.
Yeah, so anyway, I just thought that was very humorous because, I don't know. But as far as like Illumination's concerned, I mean, they're still rolling. They got Despicable Me 4 scheduled to come out this summer. So that's going to be on track. And I mean, just to like put it in perspective, last year, I mean, they had DreamWorks had Puss in Boots, and that kind of had a late revival at the box office.
Yeah.
And then they had Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which bombed.
Right, I forgot about that. That existed.
Yeah, it only made $45 million on a $70 million budget.
Yeah.
I guess Trolls at the end of the year. But even that hasn't done very well, this latest Trolls. And then obviously Disney had Wish, which we covered in December. So I would say personally, like Illumination seems to be at the front of the animation game.
In terms of box office, you can't argue it. Yeah.
Anything else about Migration specifically that you want to?
I'm really curious to see how this movie is remembered like 5 years from now, because clearly it's not the Illumination money maker that a Despicable Me or a Minions movie or Secret Life of Pets is. But like I would say that this movie has as much heart as any of those movies. So yeah, I'll be curious to see, when kids grow up and they think to their childhood, was Migration part of that? Or like, was it that movie that like, oh, I never saw that?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't think you can fault them, at least right now, as a studio for not creating original things, because everything they've made, other than like obviously Dr. Seuss adaptations, but they're definitely steamrolling these franchise that get up when they go all in. We're on like the 7th Despicable Me movie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's a Secret Life of Pets 3 in development and a Sing 3. So I mean, if they think there's opportunity, I'm assuming there's going to be a Super Mario sequel. I would just assume.
Yeah, that's a safe assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I would assume like they would be the ones doing that as well. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. Where does Migration go? How does it age? Where does it land as far as post, movie theater success? It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of surprised at how low it did, but I think a lot of families might have thought it was a bit too kiddie over Christmas and chosen to go to Wonka instead. That
Yeah.
would just be my analysis of it, because that's kind of has something for everyone in it. Even though it's a musical, and I know we talked about it, but I ran into some people who said I went to this and I didn't like it because they just started singing and I didn't know it was a musical. And I was like, you
Dude,
gotta listen to the podcast. And
yeah,
we'll tell you if it's
we
a
would have
musical.
told you. And I was at Mean Girls, and the people in front of me literally walked out. And the manager told me after the movie, he's like, they walked out because it was a musical and they didn't think it was. And I'm like, that's that. There's going to be that crowd that just doesn't want to go see a musical, right? Like,
Well, and then and just start talking about we're not marketing musicals anymore as musicals, and you're gonna get that. This didn't have any musicals, right? Migration.
no, there were some montages in it, like classic,
Yes.
but like there wasn't. No, the ducks do not sing in the movie.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes, and I have a feeling this won't be the last time we talk about the Illumination franchise as a whole. But yeah, Migration, recommend on the couch.
Yep.
And,
I put Migration in the same level. Like Migration, I think, is to this generation of children to what Chicken Run was to our generation of children.
Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's
That came out. That came out
right.
for Christmas.
I never saw it. Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was well received.
Yeah.
But
But Migration,
like making an animated sequel 25 years later.
It's a bold move.
Yeah, isn't profitable. I don't know. Okay, well, with that, that will be this week's episode. Stay tuned. We got coming up, as we said, 2024 outlook. We'll be doing some DCEU closing thoughts and memories with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Just because we're catching up on some Christmas releases here, and then we'll have obviously some Oscar reviews stuff as that comes out later in the year. But Zach, looking forward to carrying this momentum into 2024. Episode 4, 2024. It's 9:44.
We're knocking at the door.
We're knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Of what? We're not entirely sure, but hopefully they answer.
And if you're watching this, thanks for tuning on in with us, the Casual Couch Critics. Feel free to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see
you can find us, I believe now, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Google Podcasts.
Whoa,
so man, we are getting out there. You know, we were quiet in the releasing, but we were expanding when we were in the shadows.
It's a bold strategy when you launch a new show and you don't tell people about it. It's bold strategy.
I mean, our views so far, I mean, thank you to everyone who watches. They've been consistent.
Yep. No, the 9 subscribers, we love you guys.
Yeah, but like our views are all the same on every video.
It's true. It's very true.
And that is very weird for any YouTube channel to be the same number of views on every single video. Maybe someone's doing it intentionally, and if you are, we thank you. But you probably have something better to do with it.
Or maybe you don't have something better to do. Who knows?
In this case, let us know who you are.
Yeah.
All right. Signing off from the couch that neither of us are sitting on. We'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.